brought two poems that actually I was hoping to read a couple of weeks ago, but then we got all caught up on this on January 6th. And we weren't reading. And then last week we had that wonderful review of, the poetry at inauguration. But I have two and I'd like to read them.
Yes.
Shall I go first, therefore?
Yes.
Okay. The first poem is something by a woman whose name is Sharon Olds, O-L-D-S. And I see that she's the 2013 Pulitzer Prize winner in poetry. So that gives her a credential. She has other awards as well. Anyway, I came upon this poem and it's called Ode to Dirt. Dear Dirt, I'm sorry I slighted you. I thought that you were only the background for the leading characters, the plants and animals and human animals. It's as if I had loved only the stars and not the sky which gave them space in which to shine. Subtle, various, sensitive, you are the skin of our terrain. You're our democracy. When I understood I had never honored you as a living equal, I was ashamed of myself, as if I had not recognized a character who looked so different from me. But now I can see us all, made of the same basic materials, cousins of that first exploding from nothing, in our intricate equation together. Oh, Dirt, help us find ways to serve your life. You who have brought us forth and fed us, and who at the end will take us in and rotate with us and wobble and orbit.
Oh, that's just precious. I love it. I love it. I've always loved dirt since I was a little girl. It's true.
Well, I found some Rumi on the internet that I could read.
Hang on for 1 second. Tina, were you going to read the second one? Diane?
Oh. Should I read it later? How about we go around? I can read it later.
Go ahead and read it now.
Read it now?
Yeah.
Okay, it's short.
Then Tina will go next.
Okay. Did I say that was called Ode to Dirt? Okay, this one is by someone whose name is Kaylin Hout, H-A-U-G-H-T. And all I can say is she's an Oklahoma poet and a preacher's daughter. And this is the poem that's called God Says Yes to Me. I asked God if it was okay to be melodramatic, and she said yes. I asked her if it was okay to be short, and she said it sure is. I asked her if I could wear nail polish or not wear nail polish, and she said, honey, she calls me that sometimes. She said, you can do just exactly what you want to. Thanks God, I said. And is it even okay if I don't paragraph my letters? Sweet cakes, God said. Who knows where she picked that up? What I'm telling you is yes, yes, yes.
Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. Sweet cakes.
Those sweet cakes.
I like them both. They're about relationship, with the world, with the universe, and relationship with God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And about an unexpected, intimate relationship with God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The second one feels to me like a little girl or a very young woman who's just starting to discover a relationship with God, and she's getting this message, this very accepting message. Done.
All right, thank you, Diana. Miss Tina, you're up.
Yeah, so these are some Rumi, some thoughts from Rumi. I'm not sure, they have numbers on them, so I'll just keep reading until you've heard enough. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. I want to see you, know your voice, recognize when you first come round the corner, sense your scent when I come into a room you've just left, know the lift of your heel, the glide of your foot, become familiar with the way you purse your lips and let them part, just the slightest bit. When I lean into your space and kiss you, I want to know the joy of how you whisper more. I said to the night, if you are in love with the moon, it is because you never stay for long. And the night turned to me and said, it is not my fault I never see the sun. How can I know that love is endless? You are the essence of the essence, the intoxication of love. I long to sing your praises, but stand mute with the agony of wishing it in my heart. I'll stop there.
Wow. I always am blown away by his imagery.
Amazing. And the translations too.
So good. So good.
Who was the translator of that?
Well, we don't know. Something I found on the internet. Let's see if it says. Coleman Barks.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the big one.
Yeah. I'd like to go next.
Go ahead.
I'll read some Arumi. This is from the Big Red Book. Who says words with my mouth? All day I think about it, then at night I say it. Where did I come from? And what am I supposed to be doing? I do not know. My soul is from elsewhere. I am sure of that, and I intend to end up there. This drunkenness be in some other tavern. When I get back around to that place, I will be completely sober. Meanwhile, I am like a bird from another continent, sitting in this aviary. The day is coming when I fly off. But who is it now in my ear who hears my voice? Who says words with my mouth? Who looks out with my eyes? What is the soul? I cannot stop asking. If I could taste one sip of an answer, I could break out of this prison for drunks. I did not come here of my own accord, and I cannot leave that way. Whoever brought me here will have to take me home. This poetry, I never know what I'm going to say. I don't plan it. When I'm outside the saying of it, I get very quiet and rarely speak at all. Shams Tabriz, if you would show your face to me again, I could flee the imposition of this life. Rumi.
Favorite Rumi poems. Reading it. Gosh. When I hear Rumi, I just think, okay, we're done. We can just go home now because we can listen.
What else is there to say?
What else is there to say? It's just got said.
Well, the poem that you sent with the link, it's your poem, right, Tracey?
Yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of Rumi.
Oh, thank you. There was a line in there that was inspired by Rumi, and that was about the lantern and the moon. He kind of inspired that line. Thank you for saying that. I just wrote another one that was inspired by that same line. Poets, we sometimes have to milk, a line for all we can get out of it. Are you done? I can read it.
Yeah. That's enough for now.
Fabulous. This one's called "Completely Ourselves." And it's a poem I wrote, and also in response to that lovely line by Rumi. The way in which we inhabit wilderness and home, community and loneliness, we discover along the way that which we are seeking is longing to be found. That was also another line from Rumi that I kind of turned around. So I wasn't plagiarizing it, but he actually said that which you are seeking is seeking you. That's a line from Rumi. So powerful. That which we are seeking is longing to be found.
Sorry, Tracey, this phone never rings.
Just put yourself on mute, maybe.
Well, it's just my landline, but no one ever calls me.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, I could put myself on mute.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start over. The way in which we inhabit wilderness and home, community and loneliness, we discover along the way that which we are seeking is longing to be found. In the wakened, star-filled night, we realize all that is created holds a purpose, seen or unseen, like a waiting secret. Like an invisible lamp, shining light into the quiet, fathomless well, which we dip into again and again. Knowing finally that we are not thirsty beggars, but fish who live in an undulating and incomprehensible ocean, teeming with what it means to be alive. To know your will, that is power. Power to be intrinsically ourselves in a world both bigger than us and finally completely our own.
That's lovely, Tracey. Can you read that again?
Yeah. The way in which we inhabit wilderness and home, community and loneliness, we discover along the way that which we are seeking is longing to be found. In the wakened, star-filled night, we realize all that is created holds a purpose, seen or unseen, like a waiting secret. Like an invisible lamp, shining light into the quiet, fathomless well, which we dip into again and again. Knowing finally that we are not thirsty beggars, but fish who live in an undulating and incomprehensible ocean, teeming with what it means to be alive. To know your will, that is power. Power to be intrinsically ourselves in a world that is both bigger than us and finally completely our own. So it's a topic that Sufis struggle with, and I think anyone on a spiritual path struggles with, about how do you both connect yourself to God's will and something bigger than you, and to your own personal will that helps you to feel at home in the world, but also to know that we are connected to something bigger than ourselves, in this case, Baba, in this case, God, in this case, a well that's full that we can draw from.
I love your allusion to the fish.
Yeah, that one just felt so like a reminder that we're not alone in this, that we're actually swimming in the ocean of love. I didn't want to say that because it's been used so much, but
right.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you? I think I must have told you. In fact, I maybe read the poem that I've always thought that I was a fish caught by the fisherman.
Yes, you did tell us that. That's such a great metaphor.
Yeah, he caught me, and the fish is, totally ignorant, unaware of that other, more refined atmosphere and world just above the water, has no idea what that is.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's this little thing dangled in front of you that you snap at, and boom, you're yanked out of the water into this rarefied atmosphere. And if you're lucky, the fisherman eats you. It's just like, it's like you are part of that pond. You're part of that lake or that ocean or whatever.
This conversation makes me ask a question which I've never really asked myself before, but that is, how many times has Baba and all the unseen helpers that we have, how many times have they had to come up with some creative bait for us to get to the next step?
Right.
I have to say that I really love the last two lines. They just so totally wrap it all together.
Oh,
because, we belong to the ocean, but it belongs to us. I just really love that.
Yeah. It feels so true to me, like the best way we can serve Baba and our purpose in life is to be truly ourselves, and of course, to do that is no easy task, especially if you're trying to walk a spiritual path in this world. You're somehow, you're walking, as Native people say, with your feet in two worlds. And that can be so challenging sometimes, but I think so rewarding. When it falls into place and you feel that you're not about to trip up or fall over.
Well, once you have the hook, once, you have to try. You can't go on after knowing that what's there, being even, slightly aware that you're part of the ocean, and the ocean is everything.
Yeah.
It's certainly God, and God is everything. So it's like, once you get that glimmer, you have to try. You can't not try.
I often wonder when people are in crisis and they don't have a faith or a connection to God, I often wonder how they get through that difficult time. Because for me, that's where I go to. When things get tough, that's exactly where I go.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, what was that poem that you had framed for Phil and Jean? Was it Kabir? Doesn't it mention a fish in that thing about a hook?
Yes, that's the poem I'm referring to. It's not Kabir. It was Meister Eckhart.
Oh, Meister Eckhart, right. Okay.
Yeah. I can read that again. Would you like to hear it? It's not long.
Sure.
Okay, I have to get it out.
Well, while you're doing that, if you like, I've got a Kabir poem that I pulled out. And I'm talking to Laurent Weisberger, who just wrote a book called Surrender with Mir Baba. And this is one of his favorite Kabir poems. So I was reading it to him the other day. And these are translations by Robert Bly. It's the best Kabir translations I've found so far. Robert Bly, his last book was a translation of Hafez. Friend, hope for the guest while you are alive. Jump into experience while you are alive. Think and think while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death, not after. If you don't break your ropes while you are alive, do you think ghosts will do it afterwards? The idea that the soul will join with the ecstatic just because the body is rotten is fantasy. What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you will simply end up with an apartment in the city of death. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life, you will have the face of satisfied desire. So plunge into the truth. Find out who the teacher is. Believe in the great sound. Kabir says, when the ghost is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing that does all the work. Look at me and you will see a slave of that intensity.
Mm. Oh,
Fabulous.
isn't, yeah. Baba loved Kabir.
So good. Can I read it again?
Yeah. I
I'll
vote
read
yes.
it again.
Yeah, it's so good. Friend, hope for the guest while you are alive. Jump into the experience while you are alive. Think and think while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death, not after. If you don't break your ropes while you are alive, do you think ghosts will do it afterwards? The idea that the soul will join with the ecstatic just because the body is rotten is fantasy. What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you will simply end up with an apartment in the city of death. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life, you will have the face of satisfied desire. So plunge into the truth and find out who the teacher is. Believe in the great sound. Kabir says, when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for him that does all the work. Look at me and you will find a slave of that intensity.
Mm.
I know. So,
Mm. Mm.
so good. I have one more Kabir poem and then I'm going to pass it over to you, Elaine.
Okay.
I'd like you to tell me your whole story, where you first appeared and what dark sand you are going towards, and where you sleep at night and what you are looking for. It's morning, dear swan. Wake up, climb in the air, follow me. I know of a country that spiritual flatness does not control, nor constant depression, and those alive are not afraid to die. There, wildflowers come up through the leafy floor, and the fragrance of I am floats on the wind. There, the bee of the heart stays deep inside the flower and cares for no other thing. There's definitely a theme to his work.
Wow. Woo.
Yeah.
It's so rich.
So rich.
So rich.
So much longing to be fully.
I was going to say, it's like eating chocolate.
Yeah.
That was a chocolate poem, if I ever heard it. Okay. Well, I brought some Rumi also. I got into that little book of quatrains, and so I have a few of those to read. But if you wanted to hear that Meister Eckhart poem again,
Please.
Like I don't know the translator from the German, so I can't, it's not in exactly a poetic form, and yet it is. God lies in wait for us with nothing so much as love. Love is like a fisherman's hook. Without the hook, he could never catch a fish. But once the hook is taken, even though the fish twists hither and yon, still the fisherman is sure of him. And so too, I speak of love. He who is held by it is held by the strongest of bonds, and yet the stress is pleasant. Moreover, he can sweetly bear all that happens to him. When one has found this bond, he looks for no other.
Yeah, well said.
always reduces me when I read that to tears. Okay, let's see.
You have to wonder what Meister Eckhart's superiors would think about that poem.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't think much about it.
You know much about his life?
Very little, just that he is a true mystic, you know, and at a time when the church was very controlling, the life of everybody, from the king down to the peasants living outside the walls of the city, were dominated by the church. And it was just a series of, you know, rigorous rules to live by. Meister Eckhart was born in 1260 and died in 1328. So that's really maybe just on the bare edge coming out of the Dark Ages.
Here's a little bit about him. He came into prominence during the French papacy at a time when there were increased tensions. I got this from Wikipedia, between monastic orders, the clergy, and the Franciscan order. And Eckhart's Dominion order. In later life, he was accused of heresy and brought before the local Franciscan-led Inquisition, tried as a heretic by Pope John XII. He died before the verdict was received. I don't know if they let him off or not. He was thought of as a mystic, and as y'all I'm sure know, that mystics were frequently not thought well of in the Catholic faith until after they were dead, and a couple hundred years later when they got to be saints or, you know, martyrs, whatever. But try being a mystic in the faith, and usually you get in trouble in the Catholic faith. But the most recent big mystic was, of course, Thomas Merton, who lived in Kentucky and was in the Benedictine order and died in unusual circumstances in the 50s in his bathtub at a retreat where the fan fell into the bathtub. And I think a lot of people believed he was murdered. He was not just a mystic, but he was also an intellectual and was very devoted to God and to Christ, but really believed in challenging the status quo to get deeper into a more intimate relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Was he a priest or something?
A monk.
Yeah.
A Trappist monk.
Beautiful, beautiful books. Fabulous books. They're incredible. No matter what faith you are, you would love his work if you bought one of his books. Quite moving.
There's so many great poets.
Yeah, he was not a poet, but
he wrote poetry.
Yeah, he was not a poet, but he was a mystic. I sort of think of them in the same breath, but buried in Kentucky.
Where in Kentucky?
At a monastery where a friend of mine is buried. I forget the name of it. It's a very famous monastery.
Outside of Lexington or outside of Louisville?
Outside of Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gethsemane.
Yes.
Gethsemane. Yes. You know, I believe that's where Jane Haynes used to go.
Oh, that's right. Well, and she also went to the one outside of Charleston.
Was that also?
It's a Catholic monastery. It's beautiful. I've been there.
I didn't know she did that.
On the Ashley River. It's a fantastic retreat place, and you can go and listen to the monks sing. It's the Cistercian order, and the Cistercian monks believed in song, and so they sing all their prayers, and it is a fabulous thing to go there. And the monks are very welcoming and kind, and it's just a very good, feeling there. And the Henry Luce, who started Life magazine, set up a perpetual trust for that monastery. And so it's really quite beautiful to go there, and it's very inexpensive. You just make a donation to stay there. Beautiful grounds, like 500 acres, just absolutely stunning grounds. Just outside of Charleston. Yes, I think several of the Baba people went there to when they just needed to step away from their work at the Baba Center, you know. They wanted to be quiet and in a sacred place. Right.
But I remember also hearing that Jane was going to someplace in Kentucky. So that's what popped it into my head. Right. Okay, I don't know, I kind of went through this right after the riots on the 6th of January. And I like to do a fall. So these were the results of that time. It's not that they relate to that. It's just, this is what happened. Full moon, quietly awake. You look down from a corner of the roof, reminding us it is not time to sleep or to drink wine. Tonight, we're getting love messages. For their sake, we must not go to sleep. The fragrance of your hair spreading through the streets makes the perfumers wonder at such competition. Grapes under feet that crush them turn whichever way they are turned. You ask why I turn around you? Not around you. I turn around myself. Gone, inner and outer. No moon, no ground or sky. Don't hand me another glass of wine. Pour it in my mouth. I've lost the way to my mouth. Hunted down, yet hunter. Without a job, yet constantly working. Do you want my head? Friend, I make you a gift.
That's a good one for the riots.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
What is real is you and my love for you. High in the air, unnoticed, this reality rises into a dome. I am the capella.
The capella?
Capella.
What's that?
The capella.
What's a capella?
The song that's just from your voice with no
a cappella. Like
I think that's what that means.
Yeah.
I'll look it up, make sure I'm saying that right.
Well, it's C-A-P-E-L-L-A, capella.
Yeah, like a cappella.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, although, yes, it says, although capella is technically defined as singing without instrumental accompaniment, some groups use their voices to emulate instruments, and others are more traditional and focused on harmonizing. So a cappella apparently is really the word capella, and it's really a cappella. A cappella, like an apple, you know, a tree. I always thought it was a cappella, but it's really, they've combined that word, but the original word was capella.
That's interesting.
I know, I did not know that.
Okay, here's one that I particularly like. I came and sat in front of you as I would at an altar. Every promise I made before, I broke when I saw you. Don't come to us without bringing music. We celebrate with drum and flute, with wine not made from grapes, in a place you cannot imagine. I like that. I came and sat in front of you as I would at an altar. Every promise I made before, I broke when I saw you.
Nice.
Joyful for no reason. This describes me right now. I want to see beyond this existence. You open your lips laughing. I think of a design for that opening. As long as I can remember, I've wanted you. I've made a monument of this loving. I had a dream last night, but it's gone now. All I know is I woke up like this again. Oh. My turban, my robe, my head. Those three for less than a penny. Myself, my name, not to be mentioned, less than nothing.
Wow.
Drawn by your growing, we gather like disheveled hair. Even spirits come to bow. We were dead. Now we are back. That one mystifies me. I don't have much of a handle on that one. Drawn by your growing, we gather like disheveled hair. Even spirits come to bow. We were dead, now we are back.
Would someone like to give a comment about what they think it might mean or what it's meaning to them? To me, it's, like that it gave him his life back to encounter that level of love. Disheveled hair is, hair that's just not cared for. And bowing to something like that gives our life back, to have that kind of devotion to that level of love. I think that's what I take away from all that.
But what does he mean by even spirits come to bow?
That even those who have passed on before us, who we think of as potentially having a bigger perspective than we have because they're living on the other side, even they are drawn to him because he represents so much. Like even on this earth, this Shams, obviously he's talking about Shams.
Yeah.
Shams is embodying love and humility so profoundly that they look to the earth to see this radiant light versus some other light they could have found on the other side.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, these two quatrains go together. At night, you come here secretly, and I want the darkness not to end. But night says, look, you're holding the sun, so you're in charge of daylight. The secret you told, tell again. If you refuse, I will start crying. Then you'll say, shh, now listen, I'll say it over. I love that.
Can you read that again?
The secret you told, tell again. If you refuse, I'll start crying. Then you'll say, shh, now listen, I'll say it over.
That was the whole point?
Well, that's that one quatrain, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of goes with the one just before it. At night, you come here secretly, and I want the darkness not to end. But night says, look, you're holding the sun, so you're in charge of daylight. In other words, the darkness has to end. Oh, there's several others here that I kind of marked, but there's one I was looking for.
Read one more and then we'll end, since it's 8:04 and I don't want to keep people, but read one more.
There's so much intimacy in these poems.
I know.
They're very, very personal.
No.
I think I read that one last week. Oh God, where's the one I was looking for? Sometimes afraid of a reunion, sometimes of separation. You and I, so fond of the notion of a you and an I, should live as though we've never heard those pronouns. Two strong impulses, one to drink long and deep, the other not to sober up too soon. I think I'll end on that one then.
Elaine, what are you reading from?
Unseen Rain. Oh, that's right. I don't have video, so it's
What is it?
The Quatrains of Rumi. The title of the book is Unseen Rain. The translations are by John Moyne, Moyne, and Coleman Barks. So I guess they collaborated on this one.
It's just lovely to hear them read, you know, not to have to read, just to hear them. You read them nicely, Elaine.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I have a little experience in theater.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
This has been, as always, renewing to my spirit. Thank you all for being a community that's been holding us all up during this time with this music of poetry. I'm so grateful to you all.
Oh, well,
It's a wonderful alternative to what's going on in the world.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to you for hosting it.
I am
Tracey.
happy to do it. Baba asked me to do it.
Of course he did.
Angela Chen speaking the words to me. So, but it really felt to me like Baba was asking her to ask me. And when she called me, at first I was like, I don't have time. And then when I felt like Baba was kind of behind it, I was like, okay, I'll do it. You know.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.